To make one thing very, very, very clear. We are going to do everything in our power to make sure Kamala Harris doesn't win. Vote for, if you want Donald Trump to win, say that. Bitch, I will vote for Satan if I have to. Remember, no one's free until we're all free. And we can't protect ourselves if we can't protect each other. This is the time for all the minorities, all the movements, all the working class to come together and really build power and really fight against the fascism that's been here, but finally popping its head out and being loud and proud about it. And unless we do something, really come together, it's gonna get real bad.
If you don't want to vote for Jill, vote for Donald Trump. But do not give a vote to Kamala Harris and expect to be welcomed by my community.
I came home the day I met Trump, and I gave my son a MAGA hat, and I said, I guess we're there. And he said, ew. His first words to me were, ew. I said, but Baba, he said he's gonna stop the war. And he said, okay, that's it. Give me that hat. We're voting for Trump. And that's the sentiment, not just of an 8-year-old, but of an entire community. If you're gonna stop the war, even if I don't like you, I'm on your team.
To all of you who are blaming us Arabs for Kamala losing, I'll tell you this. Kamala had everything already. All she had to do was stop sending billions of dollars to a foreign country. All she had to do was listen to the people, and she refused to do so. She shut down her voices time and time again. What did you think was going to happen? She's a grown woman. She made her choice, and she dug her own grave, and that's it. It has nothing to do with us. Particularly Palestinian voices were even talking about not endorsing the red and blue parties. And what do? Some of you? You vote for the parties that are hurting them in the first place. Did Palestine teach you nothing, or do you just not care about them?
Good news, guys. President Donald Trump just announced and told the Prime Minister of Israel that he needs to stop the war on Gaza by the time he gets into the office, which is in less than 3 months. This is such a wonderful news. It truly made my day that it might be true and it might not be one of those fake promises. And I'm really hoping by the end of 2024 will also be the end of war and torture in Gaza and to Palestinian people. If this will be the case, 2025 will be the most joyful year for all of us as Muslims. And also, I truly think that Trump deserves more credit because of this than we might give to him. So hopefully, President Donald Trump, please stay on your promises and deliver to it and not.
When Donald Trump talks about U.S. ownership of Gaza, I need you to understand he is talking about a U.S. invasion. U.S. troops boots on the ground invasion of Gaza. An invasion that would lead to the slaughter of thousands of Palestinians and U.S. soldiers and would lead to decades of war in the Middle East. U.S. soldiers would then be responsible and complicit in the forced relocation of the entire Palestinian population. Now keep in mind, forced relocation of a population by an occupying power is against the Geneva Convention. This is a war crime. So Donald Trump would not only be subjecting himself to the title of war criminal, but he would be subjecting U.S. troops, U.S. citizens to the title of war criminal as well. And he's not just talking about doing this in Gaza. He also said that he's planning to make an announcement about the future sovereignty of Judea and Samaria within the coming days as well, i.e. the West Bank. Donald Trump is attempting to remove ownership from Palestinians in all territories, and he's trying to make U.S. soldiers complicit in this war crime. Donald Trump is a massive threat to world peace.
Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Robbie Masaga. Today I want to talk about Arabs in America and how they're now on social media crying for help after supporting Trump, the same man who banned Muslims, sided with Israel and made it clear he was never on their side. Now that things are getting worse, they're looking for support, especially from black people. So recently, Trump made a statement about wanting to take over Gaza and resettle Palestinians elsewhere. Now Arab Americans, especially in places like Michigan, are outraged and feel betrayed. They're expressing their anger on social media, lamenting about how unfair and dangerous Trump's stunt is. But honestly, I have to ask, what did you expect? This is the same Trump who introduced the Muslim ban back in 2017, preventing people from multiple Arab and Muslim majority countries from entering the US. This is the same Trump who has never hidden his unwavering support for Israel, the same Trump who has consistently pushed policies that negatively impact Arab and Muslim communities. And yet, despite all this, some of you still thought voting for him was a good idea. And now that reality has hit, people are suddenly crying out for help and calling on Black people to stand with them. But where was that energy when Black people are warning you? Some of you dismissed them, saying they were too emotional. Others outright ignored their concerns, thinking Trump's policies wouldn't affect them personally. But now that things have taken a turn, suddenly everyone wants unity and solidarity.
Has anybody heard from the Muslim leaders from Hamtramck and Dearborn, Michigan? The mayor of Hamtramck, you know, the one that started praising and kissing Donald Trump's ass just before the election, and said because of Trump's promise to protect Gaza and the Palestinians, everybody should vote for Donald Trump. And he got a whole lot of the Muslim community around Detroit to vote for Donald Trump. I'm just wondering if anybody heard from those leaders. I mean, after Donald Trump came and made the token visit to tell them sweet lies so that they could sell out their own people, they went on the local news channels and told Detroiters, vote for Donald Trump, don't vote for Kamala Harris. Because he stands for Palestine, he stands for peace in that whole conflict. And you could see the sliminess of these leaders, these men who persuaded much of their community to vote for Trump. Has anybody heard from them? I just want to know, has anybody heard? Because Trump barely won Michigan. Had they not followed these shady, slimy leaders, those in the Muslim community, maybe Kamala Harris would have at least won Michigan. But I just want to know, where are they? They're not on our news stations tonight talking about Donald Trump's press conference to take over Gaza. They're not on the news channels here in Detroit. They were all over the place, just like that, when they could be to promote Donald Trump. But where are they tonight? I want to know where the fuck they are.
So that was a member of the Muslim American community there in Dearborn, Michigan, who told us if we voted for Kamala Harris, that we were not welcome in their community. And that was because of stances over Gaza, right? Well, yeah, this is going to be kind of awkward.
But didn't you...
We are going to do everything in our power to make sure Kamala Harris doesn't win. Vote for, if you want to vote Donald Trump.
No, I don't know if black people holistically have told you. We done with that holding hands and being side by side and going against the grain. That's over. And a lot of y'all thought it was a joke. A lot of y'all thought it was a game after the election. Everybody from that movement was like, oh, that's just black people online. They don't represent the whole black community. You sure about that now? Because they saying it in real life too. Real bad. Again, you want any type of black solidarity, any type of black anything, you need to clock that anti-blackness. We've been telling y'all this for 6-7 months, and you guys still continue to not listen. You called a black woman outside of her name. And then you try to justify it by saying she's a war criminal when she ain't. She was just the vice president of the United States of America. You're a misogyny and your anti-blackness is why you didn't vote for her. You sat here and said out your mouth, I'd rather vote for Satan himself than vote for Kamala Harris. Well, Satan is in the office now. He's in the White House now.
The second phase of the Gaza ceasefire was supposed to begin today. What happened instead is Netanyahu met with Trump to lobby his approval for another arms package to continue the war in Gaza. Again, negotiations for phase 2 were set to begin today, and they were postponed by Netanyahu until after his trip to Washington, leaving many outraged and wondering why. Well, we don't have to wait for the answer because Trump has just officially requested congressional approval for a new arms sale to Israel worth up to $1 billion. The proposed package, no doubt requested by Netanyahu himself, includes 4,700 1,000-pound bombs valued at over $700 million. It also includes armored bulldozers valued at over $300 million. And of course, after this request, Donald Trump told reporters that there is no guarantee that the ceasefire in Gaza will hold. Hamas has told the mediators in Egypt that they are ready to negotiate for phase 2. The only holdup is Netanyahu and Donald Trump. Because this ceasefire was never meant to hold. It was always meant to give Israel more time to rearm.
But listen, I'm not saying that people deserve to suffer. That's not my point. But actions have consequences. When you support a politician who has a long history of targeting your people, don't act surprised. When he actually follows through with his agenda, Trump made it clear from the beginning where he stood. And yet, some of you still gave him your vote. And now, after realizing that you made a huge mistake, you want black people to fight for you? The same people who you dismissed when they tried to tell you this would happen. This is why political awareness is very important. Too many people vote based on emotions, misinformation, or short-term thinking, without considering the bigger picture. Trump has always shown who he is. It's not like he suddenly changed overnight. He's been consistent in his policies and rhetoric. And yet, some of you still believe that he wouldn't come for you. Let me remind you, this is not the first time we've seen this pattern. We've seen this before with other minority groups who thought they were exempt from the consequences of their political choices. They thought that because Trump was cracking down on other communities, they would be safe. But the reality is when someone comes for you, for one group, they eventually come for others. And now, here we are. Now, don't get me wrong. I do feel bad for innocent people who are caught in the middle of all this. There are many Arabs and Muslims who never supported Trump and knew what he was about from day one. They saw the red flags and warned others, just like black people did. But unfortunately, their voices weren't loud enough to stop those who ignored the warnings. And now everyone is feeling the consequences. The irony of all this is that some of these same Arab Americans who are crying for help now wouldn't even stand up for the black people. How many times have we seen cases where Arab store owners in black communities mistreat black customers? How many times have we seen anti-blackness within some Arab communities? And yet, now that the tables have turned, you want their support? I'm not saying black people shouldn't care about what's happening. Black people naturally stand against injustice. But at the same time, black people are saying that they're tired. They're tired fighting for everyone else while no one fights for them. They warned you, you didn't listen. Now you're dealing with the reality of your choices. At the end of the day, this is a lesson. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Trump has always been Trump. He never switched up. If you support a leader who has a history of targeting your community, don't act shocked when he turns on you. I hope people learn from this because history keeps repeating itself. Maybe next time, people will actually listen when they're warned. But anyway, guys, I want to hear from you. Do you feel bad for the Arabs who are now realizing Trump isn't on their side? Or do you think they should have seen this coming? Let me know in the comments, and also remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, bye-bye.